Louise, Princess Royal and Duchess of Fife. Born at Marlborough House on 20th of February 1867, Princess Louise entered the world surrounded by fear over her mother's life. Princess Alexandra, daughter of King Christian IX of Denmark, had fallen ill with rheumatic fever towards the end of her pregnancy. Her pain and symptoms were so severe that she was at high risk of passing away, even after the birth of her daughter. Thankfully, she soon made a full recovery, besides developing a permanent limp. 3 months after the traumatic event, on 10th May, the baby was baptised at Marlborough House. Growing up at Sandringham House in Norfolk, Princess Louise maintained a close relationship with her parents and 4 surviving siblings. Toots, as she was known by her family, and her 2 sisters, received a minimal home education that mainly focused on music and art. Together, the 3 sisters were known for their shy and reserved personalities, which caused them to dislike being the centre of attention. Their confidence wasn't helped by their overbearing mother, who insisted on keeping her daughters as children as long as she could. For example, Princess Louise had a children's party to celebrate her 19th birthday. Alexandra was also possessive over her daughters and saw no reason for them to marry, instead wanting them to remain as her permanent companions. Luckily for Louise, she was able to escape her mother's grip on 27th July 1889, when she married her 3rd cousin, Alexander Duff, 6th Earl of Fife, in the private chapel at Buckingham Palace. Following in the footsteps of her namesake, Princess Louise became the 2nd member, Queen Victoria's family, to marry a commoner. 2 days after the ceremony, Queen Victoria upgraded Alexander from Earl to Duke of Fife, along with Marquess of Macduff. Despite the 18-year age gap, the couple lived happily at Mar Lodge, a specially built sporting lodge in Aberdeenshire, Scotland. On 16th of June 1890, Louise gave birth to a stillborn son called Alistair. A year later, Louise gave birth to their 2nd child, Alexandra, and 2 years later, on 3rd of April 1893, their final child, Maud. By 1900, it had become clear that the couple wouldn't produce a son, leaving them no descendants to inherit the dukedom. So, on 24th April 1900, Queen Victoria signed letters patent creating a 2nd Dukedom of Fife and Earldom of Macduff in the peerage of the United Kingdom. The new dukedom was almost identical to the original, however it included a special clause that meant the title would pass on to the Duke's eldest daughter, before being passed down to their male descendants. A year later, Queen Victoria sadly passed away, and Louise's father succeeded her as King Edward VII. On 9th of November 1905, Louise was bestowed the title of Princess Royal, a title that is given to the eldest daughter of the sovereign. Along with this, her 2 daughters were also created princesses. In December 1911, Louise, Alexander and their daughters were travelling to Egypt when their boat, SS Delhi, was hit by a storm and ran aground just off the coast of Morocco. The family managed to escape into a lifeboat, which is thought to have also sank. The family managed to survive to sea and embarked on a long walk in the rain to Cape Spartel Lighthouse. By the time they made it to Egypt, Alexander had fallen ill with pleurisy and died in Aswan on 29th of January 1912. Louise was naturally devastated by his passing and began living a reclusive lifestyle. On a few occasions she accompanied her mother and sister Victoria on public outings. In October 1929, Louise suffered a gastric hemorrhage while staying at Mar Lodge. She was moved down to London to recover at her home in Portman Square. It was here that she died in her sleep on 4th of January 1931, with her daughters by her side. She was aged 63. Her body was initially placed in the royal vault at St George's Chapel in Windsor, before being moved to her private chapel at Mar Lodge. Mary, Princess Royal and Countess of Harewood. Born during the reign of her great-grandmother, Mary of York passed through a number of titles as her father rose in rank. Then she married, and her husband rose in rank. And finally her father gave her the title reserved only for the first daughter of the monarch, Princess Royal, a year after the death of her Aunt Louise, Princess Royal. The only daughter of King George V and Queen Mary, Mary was painfully shy, especially as a youngster. She grew up somewhat secluded and was educated at home. World War I brought an increased isolation for her that she broke herself out of, first by starting her own charitable drive to support the soldiers and sailors, and then by becoming a nurse. At heart, Mary was a horse-mad country girl, like the niece who so much resembles her, Queen Elizabeth II. She married the much older Henry Lascelles, who later inherited the earldom of Harewood, and became the mother of 2 sons, whose extramarital behaviour would later scandalise the royal family. Mary herself never attracted unsavoury attention. She was, however, distressed by the abdication and practical banishment of her favourite brother, King Edward VIII, later the Duke of Windsor. It is even rumoured that she pled illness to avoid attending niece Elizabeth's wedding, because he was not invited. In addition to becoming an expert on cattle breeding, Mary Princess Royal undertook duties on behalf of the Crown throughout her life. In all, she lived during the reigns of 6 monarchs: her great-grandmother, her grandfather, her father, 2 of her brothers, and her niece. She undertook her last official duty representing the Queen at the funeral of her cousin, Queen Louise of Sweden, just a few weeks before her unexpected death. She was not quite 68 when she suffered a fatal heart attack while taking a walk with her eldest son and his sons. Anne, Princess Royal. Anne Elizabeth. Alice Louise was born at Clarence House in London, England on August 15, 1950. She is the second child of 4 children and the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. At the time of Anne's birth, her mother was Princess Elizabeth, Duchess of Edinburgh, and the sovereign was her grandfather, King George VI. The children of a daughter of a British sovereign would not usually have been accorded the style Royal Highness or the titles Prince Princess, as in the case of Anne's own children. However, on October 22, 1948, Anne's grandfather, King George VI, issued letters patent, allowing the children of his eldest daughter and heiress presumptive to use the style and title of a royal prince or princess. Therefore, Anne was Her Royal Highness Princess Anne of Edinburgh at birth. King George VI died on February 6, 1952, and his elder daughter, Princess Elizabeth, became queen. Upon her mother's accession to the throne, Anne was styled Her Royal Highness the Princess Anne. Anne was too young to attend her mother's coronation, but she did make an appearance on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. From a young age, Princess Anne was passionate about riding, and she soon became an excellent equestrienne. In 1971, Anne won the European Eventing Championship and was voted the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. For more than 5 years, Anne competed with the British eventing team, winning a silver medal in both individual and team disciplines in the 1975 European Eventing Championship. In the 1976 Montreal Summer Olympics, Anne competed as a member of the British Equestrian team. Anne's love of riding led her to meet her first husband, Mark Phillips, also a member of the British Equestrian team, and the winner of a gold medal in the team 3-day event in the 1972 Munich Summer Olympics, and a silver medal in the team 3-day event in the 1988 Seoul Summer Olympics. Anne and Mark's engagement was announced on May 29, 1973, and they were married in Westminster Abbey in London, England on November 14, 1973. It is believed that Queen Elizabeth offered Mark a peerage upon his marriage, which was declined. The Queen purchased the Gatcombe Park estate in Gloucestershire, England, for Princess Anne upon her marriage. In 1989, Princess Anne and Mark Phillips separated, and their divorce was final on April 23, 1992. On March 20, 1974, an unsuccessful attempt was made to kidnap Anne, as she and her husband were being driven along the Pall Mall on their way back to Buckingham Palace after a charity film show. Anne was not hurt, but several people were shot and injured, including Anne's personal protection officer and her chauffeur. On June 13, 1987, Queen Elizabeth granted her daughter the style Princess Royal. On December 12, 1992, Anne married Commander, now Vice Admiral, Timothy Lawrence, a Royal Navy officer, in a private Church of Scotland ceremony at Crathie Kirk in Ballater, Scotland, where the royal family worships when they stay at nearby Balmoral Castle. Anne was married in the Church of Scotland because it allowed the remarriage of divorced people. She had met her second husband when he served as an equerry to Queen Elizabeth II. Like her first husband, Anne's second husband did not receive a peerage.